Bulavinaka and welcome to Gold FM's Speak Your Mind. I'm Sarafina Wedlock. We will talk. I'm Sarafina Wedlock with you today, and we will talk about an event that captures a country of about 22 million people. Now, this started back in 1861. It's the race that stops a nation. Well, apart from the actual horse race, the Melbourne Cup has taken on a culture of its own. The horse owners, spectators, the socialites, and the beautiful hats, and of course, the horse betting. And here with me in studio is Mr. Peter McCoy, the General Manager of Grants Waterhouse. Good afternoon, Mr. McCoy, and welcome to the show.
Yes, good afternoon, Serafina.
Well, it's great to have you with us. And Mr. McCoy, I believe you are a Melbourne Cup enthusiast.
Yes, I have been since I've been a little boy. And it's just growing and growing in Australia as well.
I believe so. Okay, can you tell us what are the differences that you've experienced with the Melbourne Cup in Australia as opposed to here in Fiji?
Well, all the schools stop in Australia. Everything stops and everyone listens to the Cup.
Right.
From when I was young right through until now. And I think what's the big difference is that it's got onto the world stage. And it's a famous race right around the world. It's one of the biggest prize money races in the world, and prestige to win the Cup has lots of people, wealthy people from around the world, sending their horses to Australia.
Right. Mr. McCoy, a lot of people, create a hype about the Melbourne Cup, but some of the, what they do not know, there are lead-up races towards the Melbourne Cup, I believe.
Yes, that's right. There's quite a few lead-up and qualifying races.
Tell us a bit more about those cups.
Well, look, I won't go into all the conditions because they're very complicated.
Right.
But a horse has to win one certain amount of prize money.
Okay.
Over the similar distances within the last 12 months to make it eligible. So, in other words, it has to have current form.
Right.
To be accepted.
So basically it's like a trial run for the horses before the actual Melbourne Cup.
Yes, and because they limit the field now, it used to be 26, now it's 24 runners. So they have to, some horses get balloted out and won't be selected. So it gets down to the discretion of the committee, and there's often a lot of controversy every year now about the horses that miss out.
That's right. Okay, well, last week we had the Cox Plate. The week before that we had the Caulfield Cup. Now, this coming up, we've got the Victoria Derby this Saturday. Now,
Yes.
how significant is that race towards the Melbourne Cup?
Well, it's a qualifying race, but usually they don't put the 3-year-olds straight from that race into the Melbourne Cup.
Okay.
Because they are still quite young horses. But they get in with what's called weight for age, so they get in with a very light weight because they're only 3-year-olds.
Right.
So often they have a great chance of winning the Melbourne Cup.
All right. Thank you, Mr. McCoy. Okay, in regards to horse racing in Fiji, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think it should be developed in Fiji?
Well, look, they're racing at Sigatoka, and it's an inter-village type of racing.
So it's on a smaller scale.
Yes, on a smaller scale, and everything's unregistered. But look, it's a lot of fun, and I think the people that run it have come and seen me, and we're going to give them some help and some sponsorship, because I think it's a really good thing, and it's created a lot of interest in their area, and it's got a focus from people from, giving them something to look forward to each week.
Right. Nice. Okay. If it should be developed in the country, do you think this has a big impact on the economy? Would it have a big impact on Fiji's economy if we had to take up horse racing in Fiji? From your point of view?
Look, I think it would be good for Fiji, just on a fairly amateur type of basis. And you keep it fun and keep it a sport. You can still bet a little bit on it,
right.
But to go as professional as Australia, the economy here is not big enough to do that. Couldn't handle the costs.
Exactly.
But it could be kept at a certain level, and I think people would have a lot of fun. And it turns over money in the economy and creates activity. There's no doubt about that. In Australia, for instance, it's a very big employer, and it's a big part of the economy, both the betting and all the associated things that go with the horses, the breeding of the horses, all the staff, all the feed that's growing for them. Horses are broken in by certain specialist people. There's a whole range of employment created because of the racing.
Wow. So it's actually more than a year's preparation as a lead up to the actual event itself.
Oh, yes, yeah, years of preparation. And some of these are years in the planning and the breeding of these horses to try and run this distance at a fast rate.
Okay, well, let's turn to the betting side of things, Mr. McCoy. Now, what are some of the, as we know, this year they've actually introduced licenses that need to run the Melbourne Cup this year with Grants Waterhouse. Have you had issues regarding this as opposed to before?
No, we don't have. We have a license, and all our turnover is recorded, and we pay our tax on that turnover to the government. So if we're operating at some of these outside clubs or hotel venues, our turnover goes in just the same as if we're operating from one of our branches. But I believe this year the clubs have been asked to get permits for what's like ticket lotteries because they sell tickets to go in various the Calcutta and other raffles that they run. So they need a permit for that.
Oh, okay. We've actually got an event planned for the Melbourne Cup at the Royal Fiji Yacht Club. Now, some of the people have been questioning for you to set up a booth at the actual event. Would the establishment itself need to get a license for that, or will they just piggyback on the license that you've already had?
They just use our license. We don't require any extra license.
Oh, okay. All right. Back to the Melbourne Cup.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit more about your experience as a child growing up, and having to be part. What actually made you, be in the position that you are today? What was your passion?
Well, look, I suppose I'm a country boy originally, and I spent a lot of time riding horses and being involved with horses in the country. I've ridden race horses, trained them, and in my early days. And then I became involved in the betting side, and that's the really exciting side. But it's just a great sport, and there's so many variables in it that it's hard to determine.
Would you say that you actually were one of the? Did you actually wish that you were one of the jockeys?
I think the jockeys have all the fun. Really, to be on top of one of those fantastic thoroughbreds is just so exhilarating. It's just absolutely fantastic. It'd be like driving a Formula One car. It's a similar sort of feeling. Unbelievable.
Okay, well, Mr. McCoy, okay, just a little bit more on Grants Waterhouse. Okay, what's Grants Waterhouse all about, apart from the betting of horses? Are there other races throughout the year that you guys participate in?
Yes, we operate 6 days a week, and we bet on Australian racing, 4 states. And we also bet on all the sport in the world. Whatever major sports in the world, we bet on it. Because anything that's televised now, sport's the greatest area of growth in betting. People are interested in their teams, So, and I believe FBC has just got Premier League.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, so a lot of people from all around the world follow Premier League.
All right.
So, you can bet on it, and you can bet all sorts of propositions.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. McCoy. Unfortunately, this is where we have time for. Tune in. We'll actually go into a break, but we'll be back with more. Well, Vinaka, and welcome back to Speak Your Mind. We're actually here in studio with Mr. Peter McCoy of Grants Waterhouse, the General Manager. Now, Peter, you mentioned something about trying to make the public aware of certain things that they need to get done regarding the Melbourne Cup.
Yes, well, the final field for the Cup comes out on Saturday night about 8 p.m. And we just can tell the listeners that we will be, even though it's Diwali, we'll be working on Sunday. Okay. So we'll have the final field there if anyone wants to call into our branch in Suva, get the final field, and I guess it'll be possibly in the paper that day, or certainly on Monday morning. Okay. Which is also a holiday.
And this is the final field is of course taken from the past few lead-up races from the Caulfield Cup as well as the Cox Plate and then the Victoria Derby. Yes. So how many have they given a rough estimate of how many are we looking at for the field this year?
There's a set number of 24, and the race club committee makes the final decisions as to who will be in and who will miss out on Saturday night after the day's racing.
Right. Okay, what can you tell us about like we said, the social lights, the hat parade, all associated with the Melbourne Cup? Where did this originate from? I mean, like, was it an Australian thing, or did they just introduce that later in the Cup, the Melbourne Cup?
I think it's always been seen as a bit of an elite sport. The owners are usually wealthy people,
right?
But that's changed a bit because now a lot of the owners are syndicated, so there might be 100 owners in a horse.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have to be so wealthy. And for instance, the horse that ran second last year
mm-hmm.
was bought for $1 million
wow.
in England, came out here. There's 50 owners in it. So when you divide 50 into the million, it's not too bad.
Not at all.
And they all have a lot of fun. They meet each other. And of course, there's a big social side to the racing.
And like you said, it's also a very expensive event. Plus, it also contributes a lot to the economy in Australia.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it does. The New South Wales economy, when they had a virus went through the horses about 5 or 6 years ago in Australia, they got a lot of support from the New South Wales government because everything stopped and all these people were out of work and the revenue wasn't coming in, to the government.
True.
So they really had to help them and get it all going again.
You mentioned earlier that with Grants Waterhouse, you're not only limited to horse racing. There are other sports events that you can, you highlight that they can come and bet on.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about how does this work?
Well, at the moment we're betting on the World Cup rugby, and Fiji Bati have got a team in there. And
the rugby league, yeah.
Yeah, they look like they're going quite well. There's many propositions you can put. Sometimes it's the games appear to be a bit one-sided. Manchester United seem to always have been winning until this season. But you don't have to bet on just head-to-head who's going to win. You can bet on how many goals are scored, are there odd numbers of goals or even numbers of goals, or what the correct score is, whether the game's going to be a 0-0 draw or 2-1. So there's all different propositions you can bet on, which gives longer odds and better value for your money.
Oh, wow. That's actually quite confusing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have to come in and want to place a bet, you think it's just one that you just walk in and you say, I'd like to bet on this winning, but they're actually according to the odds.
Yes. And the different propositions.
Okay. Well, for just some of our listeners, I'm sure listening in today, they're not much of a better like myself. How would you go about advising them on placing their bets if it so happens?
Well, look, we've in our advertising and in our operation of the branches, we cater to people that don't know much about betting.
Mm-hmm.
So we instruct all our staff how to teach them quickly and explain things to them, very basic things. But once they get the idea, you soon pick it up very quickly.
And it becomes addictive.
Well, I won't say it's addictive. No, not really. But it's something you do with your discretionary money. It's like a form of entertainment.
Right.
Where you get a bit of thrill and a bit of fun,
mm-hmm.
and you just use your money on it that you've got spare.
But some people like to go over the top, though.
Some do, yes.
Okay, well, interesting. I haven't actually watched any of this horse racing in Sigatoka. Apparently, there's also news of some of that happening in Lambasa as well.
Well, look, I'm not sure about Lambasa, but
okay.
Sigatoka, I think they have maximum 4 horses to a race.
Oh, okay.
And it's like match racing.
Right.
With catch weights, so whatever the way the jockey is, that's what he rides at.
All right.
And, it's created a lot of good-spirited rivalry, between the villages.
So it's just racing between the villages amongst the horses that they have. It's not like prepared for the actual race.
Well, I think they're prepared for the race, but they've got them in different standards.
Oh, okay.
So they've got their champions from each village, and some of the newer horses are just learning and so on.
So for the Melbourne Cup, with the lead up towards the Melbourne Cup, how can you tell us, how prepared is Grants Waterhouse when the actual race or the race day comes? How busy are you guys normally?
Well, normally we're quite busy because, and the problem is that lots of people come up not understanding what to do, and that takes a lot of time with some customers. So we're going to have people this year explaining first what to do and help them sort out what bets they want to have. before they actually place their bets.
Now, you mentioned something about in Australia that how this creates jobs for the public. Now, here as well, with the Melbourne Cup around the corner, do you actually have to employ extra staff for your betting booths around the country, or do you normally use
Yes.
the stuff that you have at hand?
Well, we have the challenge of training a lot of extra staff just for these short period, and some of those we were able to retain and some we're not, but they all get training and they all learn something, and I think it helps get people into the workforce.
Yes.
In addition to that, we do pay a lot of fees around at most of the venues we're paying money, and then of course we collect a lot of tax for the government that we pay on as well.
All right. Apart from the Melbourne Cup, when do you actually apart from the fact that the Melbourne Cup is actually big, what other races or what other sporting events where you have to create more jobs for betting for the public for betting purposes?
Well, we've got I'd just like to see our branches a bit busier with people using their small money. Our customers can bet 1 cent as long as they invest 50 cent minimum.
Okay.
So in the combination bets, they can have 50 bets for 50 cents. And on Saturday, someone won on the Cox Plate. The Big Six paid $92,000 in Australia.
Wow.
Someone got 1% of that, which was a 1 cent bet,
Right.
and they got $920 for 1 cent.
For 1 cent.
Yeah, so it's
Wow.
proportional to what you invest.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have to ask this. What got you interested in horse racing in the first place?
I think just started with the love of horses and sport, and the sport, and then I got into the betting side, and look, that was also quite fascinating. And in Australia, it's very, very competitive. All the odds are framed very similar to a stock market.
Yeah.
So the odds go up and down, but it's on supply and demand, which is created by what the
The
public,
interest.
what
Yeah.
the market thinks the percentage chances of the horse is. So it's like a stock market.
Have you ever placed a bet?
Yes, oh yeah.
Yeah. What's your biggest win?
Well, I don't bet it when I'm here in Fiji. I bet very little then, because I can't bet with myself. But when I go to Australia, I usually have some bets.
What's your biggest win before we go into the break? Would you like to share that information?
Oh, I probably should be telling what my biggest losses were. I did win 10,000 once.
Wow. Okay. Well, congratulations on that. But yes, thank you, Mr. McCoy. We'll head into a break, but we'll be back with more on Speak Your Mind. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind. I'm your host, Sarafina Wedlock. And yes, we're talking about the race that stops the nation, the Melbourne Cup. And this year, Gold FM is actually teaming up with the Royal Fiji Yacht Club. And with us in studio, we have Mr. Bimlesh Prasad. He's the events coordinator for Royal Fiji Yacht Club. Mr. Bimlesh, Bula. Great to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, lead up to the Melbourne Cup. I know only, less than a week to go?
Yep.
And how prepared are you for the Melbourne Cup at the Royal Fiji Yacht Club?
We're getting there. We've been liaising with our suppliers in terms of wine, prices as well, and preparing the buffet and all those menus. So we're getting there slowly.
I believe each year at the Royal Yacht Club, it's always an eventful day, and you have a lot of your yacht club members, apart from the public, that make it there for the actual event. Tell us a little bit more about this.
Because the yacht club has majority of the expatriates, so they're looking forward for this. Australia and New Zealand is out there, and so we're trying to get them involved. And obviously the business houses, we have got a lot of our members who are part of the business houses out there.
Right.
They're working, and so it's a good thing for the business houses to get involved as well. They want to place their bets and everything, so they need a venue, and RSYC can provide that. And it's a fun place to be. We've got a lot of space, we've got a lot of room, and it's just a relaxing environment.
Now, everyone thinking, oh, it's just a day to go and enjoy with friends and have a drink or two. But I believe some of the proceeds you're teaming up with the Kidney Foundation this year.
Yes, we are focusing on giving a percentage towards the Kidney Foundation of Fiji, as well as Fiji Society for the Blind.
Oh, Fiji Society for the Blind as well.
Yes, and it's a way of giving back to them, and people need it. Understandably, that it's a pressing issue, the kidney and both blindness in Fiji Island, and we want to be a contributing factor in a positive way towards them. Help them out. Dialysis is expensive expenditure. Going out to overseas.
True.
And I think the Fiji Kidney Foundation is just there to help the people.
What made you choose the Kidney Foundation to share your proceeds with?
One of the a major reason is the NCD is a pressing issue.
Yes.
Especially for Pacific Islanders.
Mm-hmm.
And, we were thinking about it, and a couple of my friends whose mom and dad has gone to overseas to get the dialysis done, and it was quite expensive for them. And away from home, far in a country, and then coming back. Whereas you have a facility that is in Fiji that needs some attention and some support, and it can cater for our local people out here. So I thought that was a good way of contributing towards them, as well as Fiji Society for the Blind. My wife was blind a couple of years ago, and then she can see now just a little bit.
Yeah.
But I did go out to the Blind Society once, and I see a lot of children out there. They're going on with their life, and they're just doing a remarkable thing out there.
So their resources are not that available, so you thought you'd contribute and help towards them.
Definitely.
Okay, and I also believe that one of your members is head of the Kidney Foundation because of his kidney problem as well. So was it something that the members thought it was passionate because it was more related to home?
Yeah, in a sense, because Mr. Maharaj and them has been, part of the club for some time, and they've been contributing towards the club as well. And so we get to talk a lot about those things. And so, yeah.
What made the Royal Fiji Yacht Club this year, like you said, the Melbourne Cup, because of the space and all, what made it open to the public? Normally, I believe it's just within the members, but now it's open to the public.
Yeah, Royal Silver Yacht Club is a member base, and, but we're trying to open it up to the public. 2-3 reasons attached to that. One is because the betting itself, the Melbourne Cup race, it stops the nation, and that kind of thing is coming over to Fiji as well, where people are all glued to the TV and betting and all those kind of things. So we're providing that as a venue for them to come and be part of that. Secondly is because of our members, mostly expatriates, so we thought that would be good. And we keeping it an open gate is because we want people to come and see the facility we have, to enjoy the environment, and because we're supporting the Kidney Foundation and the Blind Society, we want people to come out there and support them as well, you see.
Yes, right. Okay, what can the public expect? What's the program lineup for the actual Melbourne Cup event day at the Royal Silver Yacht Club?
It's an open gate, so it's open to both members and non-members as well, to the public. So when they come in, they will get a glass of bubbly, so which will be good for them. Get to enjoy the atmosphere. I understand there's fancy dress hat competitions and things, so we have that as well, and we want people to enjoy that. Just get all dressed and excited about it. And there's also buffet lunch that's hosted by the Galley Restaurant that's on the premises of RSYC.
Right.
And certain proceed from that will go towards these two charitable organizations. And we want them to come and enjoy that as well. So the tickets will be available for those buffets from here as well, I believe from RSYC. And they can come and enjoy the lunch and have a drink or two out there. It'll be on the screen. We'll have entertainment. We'll have a lot of good music out there, dance competition, a lot of biddings as well that will be taking place. We're getting some prizes from our members, like going to maybe to Nuclear Island or going fishing trips and all that. So we want them to get involved in and just enjoy the day and and win these prizes as well.
That's right. And like you said, it all goes towards a worthy cause, and it goes towards the proceeds, goes towards the Kidney Foundation, and also a percentage of the proceeds, it is, and the Fiji Society for the Blind. So far, what has the response been from your sponsors? Like, have they been, readily available to provide the sponsorship that you need at the RSVC?
Yes, they have. For example, the Punjus,
right,
been supplying the wine towards that, and they will also get some choice wines. I believe when it's Melbourne Cup, you have the best wines flowing out there. So they're making arrangements for all those kind of things, printing, in terms of printing and other things. They're just on the forefront doing all those things.
All right.
I'm getting a good support from our sponsors.
Thank you, Bimlesh. We'll be back with Bimlesh telling us a little bit more about the Melbourne Cup event today at the Royal Suva Yacht Club. We're heading into a break, but we'll be back with more. Bulavinaka, and welcome back to Speak Your Mind. And in studio we have with us Mr. Bimlesh Prasad, and he is the events coordinator of the Royal Suva Yacht Club. And of course, we're talking about the lead up to Melbourne Cup, the race that stops the nation come November 5th. Now, Mr. Prasad, tell us a little bit more about the Royal Suva Yacht Club and how did it come about organizing or being part of the Melbourne Cup event?
The Royal Suva Yacht Club started 1932. And its core focus has been yachting, boating, sailing, and to this very day, we've been doing that. And we have now the junior sailing development program as well. So we're teaching young kids how to sail and all that. It is if I'm not wrong, it is the biggest club in the Fiji.
Okay.
In regards to Melbourne Cup, I'm basically taking over from where the last manager left off from, and he was passionate about this Melbourne Cup, and it was something good for everyone, and so I thought of continuing that same tradition, So that's basically what we're trying to do now.
Have some of the members of the public benefited from the Melbourne Cup at the Royal Suva Yacht Club, apart from percentage of the proceeds going towards the Kidney Foundation this year, and also Fiji Society of the Blind? What other benefits have some of the public gotten from the Melbourne Cup at the RSYC?
Hopefully, they made a lot of money by betting, but I think this is the first time where we have brought in the Kidney Foundation and the Blind Society. Prior to this, I'm not sure we contributed in that way significantly. It was mostly for the members to come over and join the event and just be all the flair that goes with it and the fun part of it. So they just wanted to be part of it.
Well, do you hire extra hands for the actual event? Do you employ extra staff for the actual event?
Actually, we've got enough staff to cater for that.
Okay.
Because there's different shifts to it, so some of the staff would come from the other shift to help out.
Now, you mentioned in our last meeting that you normally people just come. You want to organize something where people not only come for the actual race, but have a fun-filled day from morning till the evening.
Right.
Now, what have you got planned for those who are coming in intervals? What special feature do you have organized at the RSYC?
I understand most of the people who will be coming in from the corporate houses. They are limited on the drinks, how much they can drink. They don't want to go back to workplace all doped. So, but they can contribute. They can have the fun event part of it because there'll be music out there. They can relax out there. Some of them might just want to have their business discussion, just sitting over there and enjoying the thing and
So networking,
betting,
basically.
networking as well. And I believe the Grant Waterhouse will be out there with their booth all set up. And they will be assisting those people coming in, because not everyone knows how to bet or what goes on with the betting system and everything. So I've been assured by them that they will be able to assist them with that, So because sometimes out right in the public, when you go out right in town area, people are a little shy just to go up and ask all these questions.
Right.
But in a club like that, where they have the separate booth and everything, you can just sit down, relax, and they can explain you a lot of things, what races are coming up. And so the people will be coming in during intervals. They can take the benefit of that.
Right.
And plus, in terms of parking and safety, we have our own security and all that. So they can just come in there. They don't have to worry they're going to get parking meter fine and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be good for them, just coming out there.
Now, the one thing that grabs a lot of people to a function, the food. What can you tell us about what to expect? Are they going local delicacies or, of course, or a combination of different dishes?
The restaurant has told me there's going to be ham, there's going to be chicken, there's going to be a variety of salad, a lot of dessert, kokonda, a lot of fish dishes as well. She gave me a list of pastas as well, and bread, different kinds of bread. So with the buffet, which is I think $45 a ticket, and so you're going to get a whole range of food.
Okay.
But for those who may not have that much to spare on that, but they can still get some pastries like pies and sausage rolls and all those kind of things, and they can get it at a cheaper price. I believe it's $7 a plate, and they can help themselves out for that as well.
Okay, thank you. For the hat parade. Now, like we said, a lot of the times the Melbourne Cup is associated with the hat parade. What are the what's the criteria for your hat parade this year? Is there certain? I'm sure they'll have judges. You'll have judges available.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us a bit more about the hat parade that you have featured for Melbourne Cup.
The person who's in charge of that would be Patricia Punja, and she's really into those decoration kind of thingy, and. So I'm not sure of the criteria she has for that, but one of the things we'd be pushing for, something that can be used locally, and at the same time look at the creative aspect of it. And if they can combine that with like the Kidney Foundation or with the Blind Society, and have a little significance towards that, I think that would really be the best bet for them.
So you haven't actually done an advertisement on this for your hat parade at the Melbourne Cup,
Not
or
yet.
have you?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Well, you might want to.
Yeah, but just all of those guys listening out there, just have this criteria in mind, and just come in dressed, and get whatever hat. I believe there are all sorts of hat that will be coming. We also have. I've been talking with Gwen Fong.
Yep.
And she does all these decorations and all those things, hats and masks and all that. And I've asked her to be at the Royal Silver Yacht Club. So on that day, you can actually get some of your hats right from her as well. But, it will be just the regular hats, I believe. But those who are going to spend some time designing it and, getting it all dressed, I think those are the ones who will be winning some prizes.
Okay. Well, this is a personal question, Bhimnesh. What is your favorite memory of the Melbourne Cup? Have you been part of this ever since you were a kid, or was it just something that you got in touch with just later in the years?
Later in the years, I did start betting about 2-3 years ago.
Okay.
The best memory would be the worst memory, because I wrote the horse name down and I sent my brother over and I said, bet for this horse on number 1. He was halfway through when I called him and I said, no, put him down, we'll put him on second or third. It so happened that that horse that I first wrote the name for won that day, and could have made some money, but lost it, I guess.
Okay. Before we continue, what has the experience been like with the preparation for the actual Melbourne Cup? How has it been for you and the Royal Fiji Yacht Club?
Right now we are on the infant stage right now. but there's in terms of getting the sponsors, that has been part of the preparation. Liaising with people, also getting the Kidney Foundation and the Blind Society to endorse that they're okay with it for us to have them. And so there was a lot of liaising with them as well. And also in terms of preparation is getting our staff aware of it. And the kitchen is, which I am not directly involved with the kitchen, but coming up with a menu, getting the right food, getting the right, everything should click together on that particular day. And then all the decorations that will go up all around Royal Silver Yacht Club, that needs to be put up.
Okay. Well, thank you, Bimlesh. We'll be back with more. You're on Speak Your Mind. Well, and welcome back to Speak Your Mind. And once again, we're currently with the Royal Suva Yacht Club Events Coordinator, Mr. Bimlesh Prasad. Earlier on, we had Mr. Peter McCoy from the Grants Waterhouse. Now, as we know, we just had the lead-up races a few weeks back. We had the Caulfield Cup and we had Happy Tales. That the results were... that's right, Shores Award. We had Happy Tales on second, and 3 was Fiorante. Now, we just had the Cox Plate last weekend, and this coming up, we've got the Victoria Derby. Now, Mr. Prasad, can you tell us during the lead-up races, what was the hype at the Royal Silver Yacht Club? Were some of the members part of the betting as well for the lead-up races?
For this year one?
Yeah, for this year's one.
We did have the Grant Waterhouse come down, and they put up the signage and all those kind of things, but we did not have them on the premises doing all those things. But they were trying to get everyone involved,
Right.
And these pre-races are very important, I think, not only for the main event, because the horses are getting selected for that or something, but also getting the people geared towards that, the main event, which is the hardest one, I believe. And so the people did check out the posters. People were looking at it, thinking about it, and not sure of the response because they might have gone directly to the Grant Waterhouse. Yeah.
So as we speak, you all actually already have a betting booth at the Royal Silver Yacht Club.
They haven't set up yet. What they have done is they have just put up posters, doing a lot of advertising.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So when can we actually expect the betting booths to be present at the Royal Silver Yacht Club?
I think they haven't confirmed that, but I believe on that very day at 10 o'clock they'll be all up and running. They might have it prior to that day. I'm sure they would, but I'm still waiting for them to let me know when would they set up everything.
Now, with the teaming up with the Gold FM, of course, what would you accomplish by having this event with the media partners, Gold FM being part of the media partners? What are you looking forward to?
Well, one of the things is out of several things. One of the things would be the coverage aspect. More people will get to listen to Gold FM, and so teaming up with you guys is definitely a lot of people will get to know that where the events are being held. And hopefully that will give us enough coverage that people can come over and be part of it at the Royal Silver Yacht Club. And secondly, I believe some of your personalities will be out there during the day. So I think they can do live broadcast right from there, which will be really exciting.
All right. Well, before we end the segment, any last words for the public in regards to the Melbourne Cup event that'll be held at the Royal Silver Yacht Club?
If you're looking for a place where you want to enjoy the day and be part of the celebration and the fun, the Royal Silver Yacht Club would be the place. I invite everyone to be out there, come in and support that, and don't forget the fancy dress hat. So we're looking forward, and we're all prepared for it.
And also the proceeds, or percentage of the proceeds, will go to the Kidney Foundation?
Yes, and we'll ask the presidents of those organizations to be part of it. They'll be there as well. So, you can directly talk with them. And I believe your personality can just interview them right then and there as well. in regards to how they can, the things they are doing and how it will help the public in general.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Prasad.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, that is where what we have time for. Tune in at 10:30 p.m. tomorrow. Again, and next week, we're for Speak Your Mind. You all have a fantastic day.